From the KPIX newsroom, this is Bay Area NightBeat on KBCW.
I don't see the president-elect as a legitimate president.
I don't see the president-elect as a legitimate president. Congressman and civil rights icon John Lewis making the strongest public statement yet against President-elect Donald Trump.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, fascism has to go.
Also tonight, protesters shutting out a controversial speaker at a Northern California university. But first, we begin tonight with some breaking news. A hit and run snarling traffic. A driver accused of plowing down a person on a Peninsula freeway. Hello and welcome. I'm Veronica Dela Cruz. The crash was reported just after 6:30 this evening on southbound 101 at the Holly Street exit in San Carlos. NightBeat's Andrea Borba is at the scene. She has the latest.
The call came into CHP dispatchers around 6:37 this evening of a man on the freeway here on 101 South in San Carlos. Before they could get here, that man was already struck by a car. That driver took off. This happened between Holly and Britton on 101 South. Now, the driver took off in this case, making it a felony hit and run. The man who was hit, he died. It is believed he's about 45 years old, believed to be under the influence of alcohol at the time. The CHP issued a signaler to start their investigation and figure out who may have done this. When they found parts from a white Toyota here on the scene, eventually they arrested a 35-year-old woman for hitting that man. The names of both driver and suspect have not been released yet at this point. On the NightBeat in San Carlos, I'm Andrea Borba.
And more breaking news to get to. An Amtrak train plowing into a vehicle tonight in Richmond. It happened just a few hours ago at Cutting and Carlson Boulevards, a couple of blocks north of Interstate 580. This was the third Amtrak accident in the Bay Area in less than 24 hours. Earlier today in Santa Clara, a driver was killed when another Amtrak hit their car. None of the 45 passengers on board the train were hurt. It is unclear why the car was on the tracks at the time of the collision. And you probably remember last night we told you about another accident in Oakland. An Amtrak struck two members of the Bay Area band Tower of Power. The drummer and the bassist were both rushed to the hospital. The two were headed to their show at Yoshi's when the crash happened. Garibaldi now has a swollen face, and the other went into surgery for internal bleeding.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, fascism has to go.
Loud protests greeting the appearance tonight of a conservative commentator at UC Davis. But before he takes the stage, organizers decide to pull the plug. NightBeat's Melissa Kane was caught in the middle of those protests, and she has details tonight.
Milo Yiannopoulos courts controversy wherever he goes, but tonight's event at UC Davis at the Sciences building right behind me actually got canceled because of the number and severity of the protesters.
It's going to be a wild ride.
And it certainly was. So wild that the event was called off. Now, before the speech, supporters of Milo Yiannopoulos told us that they knew there would be protesters.
I'm not nervous. I think that UC Davis has got it under control.
But they thought the event would actually take place. Now, many who objected to Yiannopoulos protested calmly.
We were over here standing peacefully.
But others ignored a barrier and got right up to the police line. Now, some Yiannopoulos fans yelled back, and there were a number of scattered confrontations. Then, just before 7 p.m., it was announced that the event had been canceled.
I feel hurt. I feel hurt, really.
Grant Gunn is in the Air Force and drove in from Vacaville.
They have their free speech because they can shout out loud, but obviously Milo doesn't get to have his.
But for the students who were protesting, this was a big win.
He does have a right to say, but when people feel threatened, like people of color or people who are women minorities in general,
everyone. We also have a right to state our mind as well.
Yiannopoulos is scheduled to speak at Berkeley on February 1st, and Nate Walker says the event at Berkeley could be even more contentious.
They're more outspoken, so if you go there, just be cautioned. Something might happen.
On the NightBeat, I'm Melissa Kane.
Now let's get you to presidential politics tonight. Donald Trump is expected to be in Washington Monday, where preparations for the inauguration are underway. A rehearsal will be planned for Sunday. Also in Washington, the Russian embassy will not confirm that its ambassador had conversations with a top Trump aide, but an unnamed senior official at the embassy is telling the Associated Press there were multiple phone conversations between Michael Flynn and the ambassador. The calls reportedly happened on the same day the U.S. imposed sanctions on Russia for meddling in the American election. On Capitol Hill, the Senate Intelligence Committee now plans to examine possible contacts between Russia and U.S. political campaigns. It's all part of a broader investigation on Russia. Today, two senators said in a statement, quote, "The committee will follow the intelligence where it leads." Now, in the midst of this investigation, civil rights icon and Congressman John Lewis is saying he does not view Trump as a legitimate president.
I think there was a conspiracy on the part of the Russians and others to help him get elected. That's not right. That's not fair. That's not the open democratic process.
The Georgia Democrat says he will not attend the inauguration for the first time since entering Congress 3 decades ago. He has attended every one. But he says, quote, "You can't be at home with something that you feel is wrong." Tonight, the dismantling of Obamacare has begun. House Republicans have passed legislation that will make it easier to repeal the Affordable Care Act without the threat of a Democratic filibuster. During a town hall meeting with Speaker Paul Ryan, a lifelong Republican told Ryan that Obamacare actually saved his life when he was diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Why would you repeal the Affordable Care Act without a replacement?
Oh, we wouldn't do that. We want to replace it with something better.
No Democrats voted in favor of the legislation today, and 9 Republicans voted against it. Which brings us to tonight's NightBeat question. We're asking you, should the GOP reveal their health care plan before dismantling Obamacare? Yes, no, why not? You could send me a tweet right now. Veronica D.L. Cruz is where you can do that. We're going to share your comments as well as those poll results coming up in just a bit. A rare infection kills a Bay Area man and now fears that hundreds of other people may have been exposed to at the gym. Tonight, health officials are on high alert. It's all going to top your 2-minute mix. The Marin County Health Department says a man may have exposed others to bacterial meningitis over several days during his SoulCycle class.
The risk of transmission is very low, but it's present.
7 Phillips died on Sunday, and now SoulCycle in Larkspur is notifying hundreds of clients. The health department says the chances are low that anyone there was infected. Crews have finished repairing a major drinking water pipeline in Santa Cruz. Monday morning, the Newell Creek pipeline leaked 1,500 gallons of water per minute for hours before it was shut down. Customers were asked to cut back on their water by 30%, but the water department says cutbacks are no longer necessary. Tonight, a man shot and killed near an elementary school in East San Jose. The man was found in a late model Mercedes. Now investigators want to find neighbors who might have surveillance video.
I don't know if any of that has captured what went on early this morning, but again, hopefully there's some information.
A fire damaged an award-winning sushi restaurant in Alameda. The blaze broke out around 4 o'clock this morning at Kamakura Restaurant on Santa Clara Avenue. The restaurant will be closed indefinitely. Investigators still trying to figure out what sparked that blaze. Tonight, the Chicago Police Department under fire for using excessive force and racial bias. The Department of Justice released a report following a 13-month investigation. Officers are accused of repeatedly using too much force and shooting people who did not pose immediate threats. The mayor says all 12,000 Chicago officers are now being watched. The airbag company behind the largest recall in American history is forking over $1 billion. Takata was accused of covering up a deadly defect in its airbag inflators. The devices can shoot chunks of metal at people during crashes. Takata will pay $25 million in criminal fines, $125 million to injured victims, and $850 million to automakers that purchased the inflators. And San Francisco tonight showing off the first car in its new Muni Metro fleet. The light rail vehicles will go into service this summer. The California-made Siemens car is supposed to be more reliable than the current Italian-made fleet. After hiding for decades, California farmers are now showing off their crops. Coming up new on NightBeat, we're going to take you inside the business of boutique pot farming. Plus, toilet cover-up, President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration 1 week from today, and there's a controversy involving the event's porta potties. We'll explain. Plus, future First Lady Melania Trump following in Michelle Obama's stylish footsteps. Details on a room that she's now adding to the White House.
Radar keeps spinning, but for the first day out of every day so far this year, it's coming up dry. When the rain returns in my 7-day forecast coming up.
Tonight, Santa Cruz County wanting to bring marijuana growing completely out in the open with licenses for cultivation. NightBeat's Betty Yu shows us a grower embracing the chance for greater legitimacy.
This is where, in these rooms, we flower our plants.
Tucked in the Santa Cruz Mountains is Colin Disharoon's boutique pot farm. In the winter, it features a greenhouse and a warehouse.
Most of the industry right now that's doing things indoors is doing a hydroponic grow method. They're using, some sort of synthetic medium to grow their plants in.
But here he uses organic and minimally processed nutrients to feed the soil. And the plants are free from pesticides to yield higher quality products. He is one of nearly 1,000 pot growers in the area that have applied for a county license to operate under a new ordinance that's in line with state law. Disharoon welcomes government oversight.
I'm just really excited that there is this opportunity right now for the industry to actually transition from this underground, gray market place that it's been and really legitimize.
It would be the first regulatory system of its kind in the county, and Daniel Peterson is the county's first cannabis licensing manager.
We were extremely encouraged by the fact that we had so many people register for cultivation licenses. The reason being is it really demonstrates the desire on the part of the local cultivators to be good stewards of the land.
The ordinance will be finalized once the county finishes its environmental impact report this summer. Peterson will then do on-site inspections and background checks before issuing licenses. On the NightBeat, I'm Betty Yu.
Tonight, American Apparel announcing it is closing up shop 3 days after being bought out. The LA headquarters and all 110 retail stores slated to close by the end of April, including this one here in Union Square. As many as 3,400 employees could lose their jobs in the process. Trending tonight, Melania Trump has said very little about her plans once she becomes First Lady, but her makeup artist revealed something today. Melania is reportedly adding a glam room to the White House. It will be an area designated for only hair, makeup, and wardrobe, with the perfect lighting that will make or break any look. Also trending tonight, the Trump inauguration and the battle of the bus numbers. The president-elect saying that the swearing-in attendance is going to be record-setting, but Washington, D.C. officials are saying that only 200 parking permits have been requested for Friday's inaugural. But for the Women's March that's happening the next day, 1,200 bus passes. And another inaugural embarrassment trending tonight. Planners didn't even realize until it was too late that they hired the company Don's Johns to supply thousands of porta potties on the National Mall, and they realized that after the fact that having the president's name on those porta potties, probably not the best idea. So they went out there with lots of tape and they decided to tape the name all up, try to remove it. But the owner of Don's Johns apparently not happy about this. He sent his workers to Washington to try and rip the tape right off. There is a new thrill trending tonight on the streets of downtown Vegas. Driverless shuttle buses. Take a peek at this. The oval-shaped shuttle carries 12 people, and today was the first day of that free pilot program by Navia. It uses GPS and electronic sensors that will stop it if a person or maybe a dog runs in front of it. The company designed the shuttle as an efficient, clean energy alternative vehicle. And speaking of alternatives tonight, a Virginia man using hundreds of thousands of pennies to pay off his DMV bill. Check this out. Nick Stafford delivered 5 wheelbarrows full of pennies. They weighed in at 1,600 pounds. And Stafford says that he paid in coins to inconvenience the DMV after he claims the department hung up on him several times when he was calling them to ask questions. Time now for your jump on tomorrow with NightBeat's Liz Cook, and maybe I do the same thing. I mean, I can't even tell you how much time I've spent in line at the DMV.
Don't you want to know what that guy's ticket was for, though? Why he had to pay that huge fine? I'll get back at you, DMV. I'll show you. That was a U-turn. That was a legal U-turn. I stopped at that stop sign.
At least he got rid of all his change. I mean, there's an upside to all of this,
I guess, but that's a lot of work to get back at them. It's pretty funny. I give them credit. That was pretty funny. All right, coming up tomorrow, Veronica, the weekend is finally here. And there are a lot of events around the Bay Area to talk about. Tomorrow is the second day of the Napa Valley Truffle Festival. Ooh, it's happening at a number of locations around the valley, including the Westin Hotel. The day's events get going at 9 a.m. and the festival continues through Monday. And a celebration of the beginning of the Chinese New Year happens tomorrow in San Francisco. It starts at 10 a.m. and from the Chinese Company on Stockton Street. And the celebrations in Chinatown will keep going for 11 days. There's also a similar celebration tomorrow in the East Bay. The Lunar New Year Bazaar starts at 10 a.m. in Oakland at 9th and Franklin Streets.
All right, all good events. Liz, thank you. And Paula Deanna joins us now with a look at the forecast. And I'm so excited that we're going to get a break in the rain.
Break in the rain began today right through the holiday weekend. Rain is coming next week. King tides, that's the reason why this is so wet in Marin County. Skydrone 5 over some bikers who were stranded earlier. Manzanita Park and Ride also hovered above as they tried to figure out where to go. That's a bike path completely underwater in Sausalito. Skydrone 5 soars right above that flooded trail. What's a king tide? Well, when the moon is closer to the earth than normal, which it runs in an ellipse, you can get higher than normal tides when we're near a full moon. And look outside, we are near that full moon right now. KPIX 5, high-def Doppler is dry. This dry stretch will last into and through the holiday weekend. No rain coming into your backyard until Wednesday at the earliest. Clear skies, January, long night. Concord 33, Livermore 33, Napa 34. Even San Francisco chilly this evening and a low tomorrow morning of 42 degrees. Still raining in Southern California. They could use some. We've been hoarding all of the rainfall this winter. They're getting some rain right now from the low that gave us some rain yesterday morning. It's that ridge of high pressure which will hang on just close enough and just strong enough, not the biggest, strongest ridge we've ever seen, but it will keep us dry for the next 96 hours. So tomorrow, Futurecast says, beautiful Saturday to get outside. Should be a nice Saturday evening if you're heading into the city. Temperatures running 1 to 3 degrees cooler than normal. A different version of Futurecast, kind of like looking down like a satellite image, but for the future. We're cloud-free throughout the day on Saturday. Now watch as a storm system will pass by to our west, barely missing us with a few drips of rain. It'll be cloudy when you wake up Sunday morning with sunshine in the afternoon. Highs tomorrow, mid-50s. Nice day in Redwood City, 55 degrees. Looking good in Menlo Park as well. San Rafael, Corte Madera, you're still drying out, mid-50s for you. Concord, Walnut Creek down to Alamo and Livermore, mid-50s. And San Francisco, 54 for a high tomorrow. Cloudier Sunday morning. Monday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day will be the warmest day over the holiday weekend. Some low 60s inland. And the rain does return. It'll be wet for the second half of next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Rain is likely. So just simple yes, no. Is this the wettest start to a year in San Francisco history?
I'm going to say yes.
The answer is yeah. How about go for the other answer?
No?
Yes, the answer is no.
Is it really?
It's the second wettest. Second wettest, trailing only January, good old January of 1982. So out of 160 years of weather history, number two, but not the wettest.
Wow.
Feels
All
like
right.
the wettest, but not the wettest.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Paul. All right, some incredible video to show you now out of Utah. Semi-truck tries to pass a snowplow when the driver clipped it, sending the plow careening over a 300-foot embankment. It all happened yesterday near Spanish Fork. The driver was seriously injured. Luckily, his injuries are not life-threatening. This is the fourth snowplow accident in the area this season. All right, Game On with Andrea Nakano coming up next, plus poll results and your best tweets. We'll be right back. Game On is now time for Game On with Andrea Nakano. She's got some sports tonight. Hey,
Yeah,
Andrea.
Veronica. The search for Sonny Dykes' replacement appears to have come to an end. Justin Wilcox is reportedly coming back to Cal as the head coach. ESPN is reporting Wilcox inked his 5-year deal tonight. Wilcox was a linebackers coach from 2003 to 2005 at Cal, and most recently he was the defensive coordinator at Wisconsin, USC, and Washington. 3 days after being let go by the Raiders, Bill Musgrave has landed on his feet in Denver. Musgrave, who was Oakland's offensive coordinator the last 2 seasons, will be Denver's quarterbacks coach under new head coach Vance Joseph. And Tara Vanderveer and 13th-ranked Stanford women take on the Utah Utes on the road late in the second quarter. Carly Samuelson, she is money from behind the arc. She had a team-high 14 points. Fourth quarter, Stanford is starting to pull away. Erica McCall with the smooth drive, and she gets the bucket to fall. Stanford wins it easily, 77-58, to pick up their 14th win of the season. Ralphie the Buffalo has some moves, but so did the Bears as they take on Colorado. Tonight, it was the Christine Anigwe show, as always. Here she cleans up the mess with the layup, and Cal goes up by 2. Late in the fourth quarter, Cal up by 7. Asia Thomas finds Anigwe with the no-look pass. Anigwe finishes with a game-high 29 points and 11 rebounds as Cal wins it 65-53, ending a 3-game skid, and that would be Anigwe's 12th double-double of the season.
All right, you know, you wear a mascot outfit like that, and it just kind of squashes your inhibitions, and you just want to, like, get down. Nobody knows who you are.
I know.
You know?
That's the good thing about being a mascot. Nobody knows who you are, so maybe a select few, though.
Andrea, thank you. We'll be right back. Our NightBeat question of the evening: should the GOP reveal their health care plan before dismantling Obamacare? An overwhelming majority of you tonight, 89% of you, are saying yes. Only 11% of you tonight say no. Lee Davenport tweets, pre-existing conditions blocked me before. Then ACA allowed me to remove my cancer. Hashtag thanks Obama. Randy tweeted this: millions of people depend on ACA for the treatment of very serious illnesses. You can't just strip them of it now. Ramon says they have nothing to reveal yet, thus the deafening silence. While Mike Bernhardt tweets this: it's absolutely crazy to be working a repeal when there is no replacement ready. What do insurance corporations do with uncertainty? New rates due in March. Jeff Smith tonight says this: I don't care if they replace it or not. Nancy Pelosi didn't even read the bill before she passed it. But Chispis wraps it up tonight by saying this: of course they should, but will they? This is one drama that I'll need to see how it ends. Thank you so much for weighing in and for joining us tonight. That's going to do it for us here at NightBeat TGIF. Have a terrific Friday, a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.